to the SoundCloud?
Oh, to Sound Slice and that?
Sound Slice, yeah.
That's a very good question. You
It's
will
a free
have access to it until I change the password for the next semester, which will be sometime between now and the next semester.
Ah,
Suzanne, are you having trouble getting on?
no, but I mean, there's more songs, and I want to practice more.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember. I'm looking. Oh, you're joining along next semester, so you'll have continuous access.
with the same music.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Okay,
not. I'm
good.
not crazy enough to do a whole other thing. Um,
Well,
uh,
I know a few of you who are crazy. So.
uh, no, I was crazy. This is as crazy as I can get. Is how much is on there already. Um,
We're all crazy. We wouldn't be doing this.
yeah, there you go. That's a spirit. Um, hold on. People are coming in. Just in from Bellingham. We've got somebody. Carla coming in.
Carla.
Yeah, and oh, here comes Lindsay. Um, yeah, with next semester, we've got another week of the early bird price, and would love to let you take advantage of that, and hope to continue. And I think I'm thrilled that there is an interest in this, and it's been a nice sized group. And I just would say, from my perspective, you can really get a sense of it in one semester, but you could start to kind of wrestle it to the ground in subsequent semesters, and start to not only recognize patterns, but recognize it with your fingers and your ears and play them sooner. And already I've had some feedback from people of these aha moments of like, oh, wait a minute, this is the same thing. This is the same thing over and over again. The B sections are so similar. And next semester will be, I mix it up, but next semester will be very D centric, and
What does that
meaning
mean?
that we'll be in the common key of Celtic music, and a lot more associated. This has been a funky one. We're kind of looking at tunes that are more outliers a little bit, as far as keys and fingerings, but they're common, but they're not the main bulk of this material being the key of D. I always appreciate the questions. Any other questions before we start the onslaught?
Kevin, could you review me for just a second on when does the next class start and when does it end?
God, I could log onto my website. It would be good.
Well, when does it start?
I don't know. Hold
Okay,
on.
start. It's going to be in February.
Was I thought it was like the very end of January.
Yeah,
Very end
it's
of
the
January.
27th of January, and off on March 3rd, but not off on St. Patrick's Day. Um, we'll have a class, and then it would also be off on April 7th, and it would end on the 14th of April.
Well, let me say this for your. Uh, I'm probably not going to take the class because not because I'm not interested in class. I think this has been a super class, as all your classes are. But we're coming up on, some of us are coming up on probably getting vaccines somewhere in that January timeframe, particularly at my age, at which I'm going to immediately start traveling.
Uh,
I've got to go see some bunch of family. So it's going to be hard for me to participate in the next class. But if I can, I will, but I'm just
okay,
throwing that
I
out at this
appreciate
point.
the full disclosure.
Full
Um,
disclosure.
Yeah. Anybody else have any confessions or anything? Is the Green River murderer in this group? Well, hopefully not. I don't think so. Something tells
I
me no. Any unsolved crimes? Um,
I rather like not going out, except for that I'd want to travel. But when I get released to travel, I'm leaving Burbank, and I probably will not be back for months. So
yeah.
that won't be right away.
Yeah, it's so, everybody's got their own situation. It's so hard to play. I'm just like, my mindset on this is just like, once the vaccine comes, get the vaccine and then see what it's like. I'm not going to start making plans.
No, me either.
It just seems like plans are the wrong, it's just kind of take it a day at a time and then see. But at some point, it'll be like, the future opens up. And I love that, that so many of my students are in the age group that can have the early access to this vaccine. So very cool.
Get them to have 2 doses, so you gotta
Yeah.
one. It's a look 21 to 28 days at minimum for the second one. So
Ah, I see. Yeah, it's wild. And there's multiple vaccines. There's the Pfizer and the Johnson and
Yeah.
Johnson, and we'll see. We'll see.
Carla had her hand up.
Well, I'm gonna pardon me if I change the subject. Anybody have any questions about Celtic ukulele? Let's go that way.
I
Yeah,
actually,
Carla.
I wanted to share something uh, with the group. Whoever's playing baritone, and I know Susanna is. Um, when I went into my local music store, the lady who sold me my baritone said, "Hey, we just got these 2 books that were donated. They're from the '60s. They're original Mel Bay books." Anyway, I looked in the back, and it's got these wonderful chord charts,
Wow.
which ties into this workshop that we went to this last weekend. So, how can I share that PDF with the group for
I'll,
any of the baritone people?
I'll give you my
Um,
email.
I you
Okay.
send you well, I think it'd be easier if you just sent it to me and I could include it on our Celtic resources page.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Very cool. Thanks, Carla. Um, nice. Any other anything? Okay. Well, let's look at a new tune. A new tune for some, old tune for others. I mean, these are all old tunes. But this one is called the Carrie Polka. And it's a really fun one. Let me just play it here, this ukulele orchestra version of it. Um, and like these polkas, this one is in D, and it is such an accordion song. And we'll talk through it a little bit, but here it is. And on it goes. This is the first song in my book that today I just sold the last copy of. My first book, Ukulele Kaylee. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet, kind of an awesome feeling. It's like, well, I got to print more. I just want to point out that, like, in this book, you've got. Or those chords. This is a completely new version with different harmony, different chords. And as we've talked about, that's where the creativity in this music really comes in. And this harmony, or the B part, just for variety. If we were all playing this together, we would have to pick a harmony. The parts that are arranged for this, and I would say blatantly over arranged for this, but for the purpose of giving everybody an appropriate part to play. But these parts go with this harmony, and so that kind of works that way. I would need to do another arrangement that that fit with the chords of a different version. Does that make sense to everybody? Oh, yeah. Val, you have a question?
It goes with both the high version and the low version that you have, though?
Yeah, the high version and the low version of the tune could have so many different chords with it. The tune's the tune, it's not going to change. But these harmony parts, these counterpoint parts, and the chords are, we could just do a semester of this song and do 12 different versions of harmony with that. But yeah, but the melody, and that's the beauty of this music, and the melody is always the same, and the melody is the centerpiece and is the tune. Does that answer your question? Yeah, yeah. In that higher part, really cool. And then slides up to this position. That once we're in D, we see this over and over again. And I just want to point out that this note, I'm playing with my second finger, or as the great Hawaiian ukulele master Kimo Hussey calls the road rage finger, is on the 10th fret of the E string. And let me, hey, there we go. There's more people. And I know it seems like we're gaining and losing people, and they come back in. I know it's just kind of hard. That D, G, E, F sharp, G, A, B, would all be there. B is typically the highest note in these tunes. And quite often the lowest note is F sharp. And that gives you an idea of why it's hard to voice this when G is your lowest note. And so it tends to be the range of the tunes. And some people say, well, play it in D6, but then you've got to take it up an octave because you still can't get down to a low F sharp. Just kind of them's the breaks, I think they say.
So
But
Kevin,
getting this, yeah.
You're way up high, but the music is written. I mean, I'm looking at this down here. Is the idea to find it up here ourselves and go there?
Well, there's two versions. There's a high version and a low version, and both of them have tablature.
Really? I couldn't find the other. I couldn't find the high version tablature. I mean, I can figure it out. It's all right.
Okay.
And it's in the book.
It's in the book.
Oh, I got the book. Okay, I can find it.
Yeah. First song, page 11.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because I think on Sound Slice, it just has the standard notation. It doesn't have the tabs for
In the
for the high
you can
version,
print out it too. I didn't look at the book.
but it is in the book.
I'll have to
Alright.
check that. Okay. Well, we'll just do it old-fashioned style, and I'll just show you. But this idea, I think of this much like dancing. This is like your ballet pivot foot, and that's the center of the key. That's a D. That's where you want to be. Everything else revolves around that. You can get these other notes, and you can go up or down from there. And we're just playing the D major scale. But if I'm going up, I'm going D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Yeah. And if I'm playing the tune, it sounds like. and that's that idea of we talked about, I think last week, is giving it a little more pop. Um, Also called John Ryan's. So this one's not John Ryan's to my knowledge. Is Laura Lean in here? The if this is the one this one has. Oh, this one's called Egan's Polka, maybe. All these tunes have so many names. It's very confusing. John Ryan's is the one that I know of as.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's Lorley.
And I just looked at this, but I can never remember.
And I think that's the dumb. I think that's the dum dum one too. Actually.
Dum 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 dum. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I got him confused. Yeah.
That's all right. No, it's very easy
So
to
what's
do.
together? What's it? Egan's. Egan's. Yeah, that sounds right too.
I think so. Yeah.
They play them in Irish sessions I go to, but
Yeah.
nobody knows the name, so they just throw a name
Right.
out there. And,
That's the thing, and it gets very confusing. I'm gonna look. I'm thinking Egan's, but I'm gonna do some searching really quick. Egan's. I was right. I was right for one. My brain still kind of works. That's shocking. Egan's Polka, and I'm sure it has like two or three other names.
it's probably got a lot of names.
Yeah.
People tend to give them, at least from what I hear, is that if you heard it at somebody's house, then and the guy's name was, whatever, that becomes the name of the tune for you.
Yeah.
Because that's where you learned it, was at his house or this town and that session. And
These things
hard
are
to keep track.
so funny. Yeah, and it's so rural, and it's charming in that way, especially in the world where you can render yourself an expert on anything if you have a smartphone and know how to Google things. But on one of these sites, this was it's a tune I really liked that, of course, I can't remember what it's called right now. But these guys are having this argument on what it's really called. And they were saying, and this one person entered into it and was like, yeah, it's actually not called that. It's often called whatever, but it's really Tom Hackett's Dream. Like, no, it's not Tom Hackett's Dream. And the guy's like, no, it is Tom Hackett. Tom Hackett was my father. I wrote this song. It's called Tom Hackett's Dream. And so it's like a game of telephone that it just gets twisted. And then people are like, oh, okay, well, we call it this, but yeah, you can call it that. So anyway, yeah, it can get confusing quick. It's got to be flexible with the names. And the main thing is once the tune starts, it goes like. I'm going to stick to the lower octave for a second and show you just a couple of kind of finger movements and positions that I think can kind of help. And to think first that, the chord is D. Those first two notes, that F sharp and that A, are right in the chord. Now I wouldn't want to finger it that way, but if I'm F sharp, A, this is a great little exercise because so oftentimes people think, I have to bar the whole thing. And it's just killing me. It's killing me already. I'm just kind of death grip. But there's a way to kind of toggle. I maintain the integrity of that D chord shape of A, D, and then there's an E there. And I'm conserving energy instead of doing like. With all that movement, every note that's on the second fret, which is A, D, and F sharp, all in the chord, I'm just positioning my finger there. But If we were looking from a side like this, it's really weeble wobble, weeble wobble. And so that I don't want to just like grip it in that death grip. I want to allow it to kind of pivot and move. I may be exaggerating it. It's a great one for picking because we got to skip a string. And then the B section. That's a straight D major pentatonic scale. So we get that this way to kind of hit the note, that F sharp. I want to kind of pull down here. Really good for the fingers, but to get some flexibility. The main thing is if it is hurting, you're doing it wrong. And so we want to make sure that's not happening. Another possibility, it'd be easier if maybe I'll just go ahead and use the strap. Oh, and I've got this gift that Christine, who's on a different page than I'm looking at, there she is, gave me. This little thing, this leather pouch that fits on my strap. Oh, you're going to like this. I can open it up. Oh, what's inside? There's all me green picks. So I'm never without. It's like some kind of like if Clint Eastwood would have played ukulele back in instead of having a gun, he would have had one of these, you know, just like always pulling out picks, and you're never without one.
Kevin, I have a Pez dispenser on the upper bout of my uke for picks. Here you go.
Oh, can we see it? Oh, let's see. Where'd you go, Charlie? I lost you. Uh-oh.
I'm here somewhere.
Oh, there you are. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. And you're a fairly handy fellow with some machinery. I know that about you. But you just glued that on or something?
Yep, I just glued it on.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Pez, huh? I wouldn't have thought of that. Was that your idea? Did you see somebody do it?
No, it's something I found in a music store.
Oh, cool. So, I want to get into this little toggling thing and a way to make this pop. But with the toggle, to be able to have your shoulder move freely, your elbow raise, fall. If you're holding one position the whole time, it's gonna start to really get your back, your shoulders, but to be to allow some movement there, it feels good. And if you're supported, and we've talked about this, and it's always good to talk about just the mechanics, trying to sit up straight, making sure that your feet are on the ground, that can really help balance your body. And having a little bit of that. Just this 45-degree angle is a very fortunate angle for stringed instruments that you pick. You know, if you're a little more like this, it's really, you're going to be working some weird muscles. And of course, if you're like this, the place I see people get to is more like this, where they've got it. It's more like a lap steel, sitting here and they're looking up and watching. I would shy away from that and use the gravity to kind of keep you grounded. Now, this one's really cool because I'm going to show you a couple things that an accordion would do. And so an accordion would not go bum 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 bum. They would be bum 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 bum. Part of the fun of this music is that accordion's contracting and pushing the sound out on the right beat. The right beat for this one is beat number 1. Now, if we're playing them all evenly, that's a great place to start. But the next one is to make in that first note. Now, another aspect of this is the accordion would never play the F sharp directly. They would come either, probably from the F. And so I'm going to slide try it out, kind of suit to taste how much of that, but that first note would often have that. And this I stole fair and square from an accordion player playing the Carey polka, and it would be the intro. And this D, E, F, F sharp, so cool. Now, if I were in the high octave, I might have to slide, and I might even slide from that E. So those are some things that you can do, that you can add to it after you get the tune under your fingers. I think it is certainly among the most finger-friendly tunes to play. A couple of the issues or challenges with it are the string jumping. To get that second, fourth string, you go on, so that my right hand is like down, up, down, up. Takes a little practice getting used to that. The high one, you don't have to jump. There's a multitude of parts. And I'm going to go back into this tune. And hold on. I'm going to get rid of a few of the parts here. I'm going to get rid of the harmony, and I'm going to get rid of the counterpoint for a second. But I'll keep the chords and the tune. And that baritone, I'll get rid of that for a second, just so we can get used to hearing this. This is 100 beats per minute, probably too much. Do I hear 80? Let's go 80. Let's see what that does. This would be a 2 count. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and yeah, that should be good. And even if you're like, I'm not ready to play this, I'm fumbling with it, a mental exercise would simply be to be A, A, B, just to keep track of the A1, A2, B1, B2, and just how it goes back and forth between those parts. Okay, so play along in some sort of way. Here we go. At 80, 1, 2. Could play it all night, but there's it just want to make sure we get the idea that if, for instance, you were playing that harmony part, if you were at a session, that part's going to work because it does harmonize with the melody, and the melody is always going to be what would be played, whether it's called Egan's polka or the Carey polka, or it's nameless polka. It's just this tune. But I think that to consider one of the main things about playing music is kind of the discretion or exercising some taste would be, especially in this kind of music, you might only play that one time. And you probably wouldn't begin with it and let the tune develop until maybe just the last time, or until it felt like, that could happen. And just wanting to give you an idea and still having this, I feel like a childish hope that one day some or all of us will be able to play this music together. That it's not like an orchestra piece where everybody's playing all the time, or it's not stacked that way. And it would be best to kind of know your role. If you're playing the tune never goes away unless there's a real arrangement with an ensemble. But if it's at a session, the tune is the tune, and that is always going. So how you augment that and build around that, the more notes you're playing, the more kind of space it's taking up. And so like this counterpoint part, that's not going to get in the way too much. Now, you wouldn't want to play it all the time, but you might come in the second or third time with something like that. And you just kind of feel it out and listen to what's going on, and get a sense of it. A different part, like even the chords, you could do a few different things. And I was just working with Liz on this. I love this sound. So this is now just the melody. And I am going to do this with one chord, and just to get a feel for it. And also throw this in, that in a session, so oftentimes somebody just starts playing a tune. Nobody knows what tune it is. And so you don't play. They just play the tune, so you get a chance to sit there and listen, which if you're a smart musician, it might even be if you were like at a dinner party and some people were talking about something that they knew pretty well, you might listen for a while before you said anything. Same kind of deal. So this could be how a tune like this would go, and then how I'd connect with it. And I'm just hearing it. And I'd probably let it go through, make sure I understand where they're playing A, and B, B. Back to the beginning. Okay. This is a second A. And just getting the feel. So now that's the B. And just kind of keeping and getting a pulse. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Should be the B again. Yeah. And so now I'm going to get ready when the A comes back to play a D chord. And I'm going to try to play 2 measures. Even though those aren't the chords written down, I can play this whole thing with one chord, like a drone. And this is magic because you can get in touch with whatever tune's being played. And it's a very ancient sound. change, really becomes a little more modern. And then really it builds the tune, this more movement. And then I'm going to kind of use a boom chuck rhythm. And I can show you that in just a second. So some possibilities. I could have even just gone. And remember the power of the drone and the bagpipe or the uilleann pipes or whatever kind of pipes might happen in this music. And the power especially of whole notes or of, 4 beats in this case would be 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and gives it a certain kind of sound that sometimes I've heard groups, they never add more chords. It's just a 1 chord thing, and it gets more rhythmic and it gets more ancient, is the only words I know how to describe. If you've met me before, I've talked about a boom chuck. The boom is the thumb, the chuck is the finger. And if I'm playing a D chord, I'm just going. I don't want to like go. I'm not strumming. I'm just getting this kind of finger pistol move. Great for bluegrass. It's really good for polkas. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and you can get fancy. Da 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 1 da 1 2 a 1 down 2. I just kind of put that in to go with the tune there to end it, but. All the polkas could work that way. And so even if I was looking at the Ballet Desmond polka, I'll just jump over there. Now, I don't want to play a D chord on that one. I want to play the tonic, which is an A minor. And so I just show you the same idea. This one's at 70, even slower. 1. That one kind of wants the E minor there. Yeah, doesn't always work. Sometimes these minor ones want the 2 chords, but you could play it with only A minor and G. I'll show you what that would sound like. Once I get this, okay, there we go. And I'd play a G here. Instead of the E minor, it would work. The main point is to connect with the music. You could even just let it go and just play every 4 measures. 1, 2, 1, 2. Different chord there, but and if you wanted the you could totally do that boom chuck on this one. to give you an idea of how you can take one of these concepts and apply it and apply it and apply it. Let me unpin myself and unpin everybody. Go into, there we go. Any questions with that, with the Carry Polka? Folks feel like they have enough to work with there. The thing is, let me look at this for a second. One possibility. Oh yeah, this one works pretty well on baritone. Playing the tune, I didn't chart that one out, but it's the F sharp is found on the first string. There, I'll just show you that. And sometimes it's cool to not have these written down, so you just have to kind of figure it out by ear. F sharp, A. Almost the same, but this is a D chord. What would be a G on a standard tuning instrument? Let me go back to pinning this for you. Same relationship we had, just different strings. Instead of the same fret now. Thing about the baritone, and if this breaks your mind, don't worry about it. You can come back to it at a time when it makes more sense. But this shape that where my second finger is on the D on the second fret, just happens to be the second string, third fret. Hang on. My fingers are doing the exact same thing on the B section here. It's just in a different place. And going back, especially the folks that are going between baritone and what we'll call standard tuning, that's kind of a cool idea, because if your fingers know how to play it, you find these positions, but the difference is the A section, it's right there. The B section, there's no jump or anything. And that position, which is so often the B section, is going to be right here. So these tunes lay out much simpler on the baritone a lot of times. And once you get them in your head, you start to see them. A way that I think about, there's a D chord, and it's just right there. Yeah, so another little idea of possible extensions, and there's just so many, and I love teaching this way because there's just like, I feel like maybe 3 people might take that idea, but hopefully we're kind of peppering this that everybody gets something. Well, I want to look at, if there's no questions or anything, this next tune, and this one, you can hardly, I think, go to a session where Drowsy Maggie is highly likely of being played. And I want to talk about a couple things with this, and something that is really, really cool with these tunes. Not only are they utilizing the same notes so often, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D, the D major scale, they are often using the same rhythms. And this is a rhythm you need to learn, and it's such a good one. And this 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and but it's never played so straight, like 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and da da dun da 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 dun da 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 da. So this it's just really cool. And this is another one of these minorish ones that the E5 just sounds. I think if we were in Boston, we could say wicked awesome. But it's a pretty cool sound. And this. So if I'm playing it straight, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Nothing wrong with that, to get the cadence of it. But this is so cool because you've just got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, oh, yeah, 1, 2, and keeps coming back to this open E. Kind of a thing that like heavy metal guitar players use that. Sounds like the music's really going further than it is, but it just has that open. And getting that swing to it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Here we go. And that's a tricky move. And that's a really crazy stretch to get to that. And if this is your first time up there on one of these, and this is a reel because we're counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that's your first time up there, you've got to sound it out. It's going to be a while before that sings. And you've got to figure out, finger-wise, I want to be, again, in that same position with my second finger on the 10th fret, that D note on the E string. And I don't want to move it unless I have to play the C sharp, which is right there. I want to keep it there, then I know where I am. A common problem is someone's going, well, I like to play with my first finger. If you start switching fingers and moving around, your brain has no idea where you are. This way you just stay, it's more like classical guitar. Now, that D is the center of the B part. What's really cool with this is E is the center of the A section. It kind of has a minorish feel on the A, or modal feel, and a very major feel on the B section. So just making sure you got that. But this is brutal at first, and especially if you're not used to playing up here, it's going to sound like. It takes a while to learn the mechanics to get it. It's the heart of it. Great tune, and one that you can take real slow and get each section. The longer you play this kind of music, the more you'll go, oh, this was like the original Germ, and it just is like, oh, then this one's just goes this way. This one goes that way, but they're really similar. There's so many tunes you'll say, oh, this is the same rhythm as the A section of this, which is very close to the B section. Just a little more eighth notes there. These rhythms, if you pay attention to them, you'll see them over and over again. I'll show you just as an aside, and it's a tune that somebody threw this out at a Celtic session I was at, and oh my gosh, I don't remember the guy's name. The fiddle player for D. Dannon was doing a fiddle workshop, and he sings, and Keith Richards chose him as the guy to join this non-reggae Jamaican group. They thought, oh, they just need something else. Oh, here's the guy. Oh my gosh, what is his name? I can't remember his name right now. Wonderful player, but somebody pulled this song out at a workshop and said, he just went around the room and asked people to play a tune on the fiddle. That's why I did not bring a fiddle, because I'm pretty bad. But somebody said, oh, Tam Lin. And he's like, Tam Lin, I don't know that song. So like if you were in like Renaissance fair circles, they're like, oh, this is a traditional Celtic tune. But if you're like in the fiddle tune thing, he's like a guy who's dedicated his whole life, it's from Ireland, to playing Celtic music, had never heard of the song, and said this is it's not in the canon of tunes. But it's one of the oldest tunes. But the main point is, one, two, and three, and four, and one, two, and three, and four, and one, two, and three, and four, and one, and two, and three. It's the same rhythm, exact same rhythm. It's a cool song, and it's some of it. I think like, we all want to kind of stake claim to our own territory, and I think a lot of people go, oh, this is fiddle music. This the only instrument really they should play this is fiddles, unless you are a harpist. You're like, well, actually, so much of this is written for the harp. It's harp music, and the tin whistle, whatever. All those little sects kind of have their own way of doing it, and the music kind of has to cater to that instrument. I'm trying to cater it to the ukulele. Go figure. but keep it in mandolins or whatever. And you might find different tunes in each thing. But the rhythms are so often the same. And if you think of it that way, if your hand and ear can learn that rhythm, you just change the notes. And so oftentimes the notes are found in the chords or in the shape of the song. You can kind of get that. Let me just play. Speaking of chords, I've got, as I do, a whole bunch of harmonies. So I've got. I want to check my work. Okay, this is the harmony that's in the book for Drowsy Maggie, and I just want to. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of a lot of stuff here, and just have the tune, so we can kind of accompany that, and I'll use that same idea of the one time through. So remembering that. It'd be typical for the tune to start first. We'll just pretend that the tune is played one time. And I'm just playing this E5 the whole way. And a rhythm that can be kind of cool, I'll show you the second time, is an and one instead of just one. Playing that E5, and it's going to give me somewhere to go, but I've got to go to D. And if I want to pick up that but the music works with one chord harmony, and it's so cool. Now the next time I'm going to go to this harmony I have written here. And this is kind of newgrass chords there. I don't know why I did that. I think it was new to me at the time, and I thought, oh, this is cool. But it's a very modern harmony for this kind of music. This G sus4, especially. And I'm playing different voicings of D, A, D, D, A, G, D. I could play just cowboy chords. D, A, G, D, D, A, D, D, A, G, D. And then everything could go away and it could just pinpoint back to the melody. It can be really powerful. Lots of possibilities. And I have a request from Susanna, because I know you've done some research on these Boron rhythms. If you can share any of that with me, I'll try to turn it into some mayhem. I'll punish everybody with it later. If it's easy and possible, just to tab out the rhythms or show me where they came from, and I'll do it myself.
I can't do it right this second, but I'll be able to do it. And I'll tell you why. I am getting a banjo a baritone banjo ukulele that Aaron's making for me with a 12-inch pot
Wow.
because I want to be able to try to beat those rhythms while I play.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And I think
Yes, I'm
that
crazy. So
that there
I'll get a hold of you. And
yeah, I
I
would
keep,
love to. And I've looked and have had a difficult time finding authentic rhythms for that. And so many players, in the very few that I've played with, don't know anything about music.
YouTube, there's a guy teaching on YouTube that's great.
Okay. Um,
Yeah,
but those
I'll email.
rhythms can work great, and especially with that one chord thing. Like you were talking about the hemiola, right? Yeah, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And then he brushes sometimes too.
Okay. If you
Go
can
ahead.
just, yeah, I'll look for this. If you remember his name, just let me know and
I
I'll do
will.
it. But those rhythms could transfer and be really cool, and it would also be a thing.
What I was doing was sitting on the edge of the bridge to get a higher tone and
Yeah,
then
you can
down
just,
a deeper
yeah,
tone.
season to taste. Um, you might not want to use your favorite uke for that, especially if you have a redwood or a cedar top. But yeah, really, really cool stuff. Well, oh, okay, Michelle Stewart.
Oh, all right.
All right, somebody's writing something. I'll write that down before I shut out here. I never know how to spell that word. Bodhran. Of course, there's an H in it. All right, kids. Any further? Any closing thoughts, questions? Anything before we say
Oh,
good night, John Boy?
Austin P. Okay.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say that if anybody's interested in those pick holders that Kevin was talking about that attach to your strap, I have them and I'm selling them for $20, which is a
Oh,
pretty
cool.
good rate. I got them on sale from the guy that makes them. It's from an Austin luthier. I mean, from a Texas
Oh, cool.
car maker. So I've got them in brown and black. And if Austin folks are interested in them, I put my phone number in the comments. And
How about not Austin?
um, I could let you know. You could text me, and I could let you know where to order it. They weren't
Or I
available
could
for a long
just.
time, and they just became available again. But I have them here in Austin if anybody wants to buy them. And I could put on a mask and meet you in the driveway, and just let me know.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
cool. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, and somebody's asking, is there tab for Drowsy Maggie Melody? Yes, there is. It is in this book, and it should be on the Celtic ukulele resources page. There's so much stuff you have to sift through it. I hesitate to. I have this question. Let's say this is an idea. It's a possible idea. So right now, there is a multitude of stuff on here. I have it done by song. And I know that there's some people that just say, well, I'm going to print it all. I've got, so I've got like 80 pages of stuff. And then it's like, oh, what are we playing? By the time you find the page we're on to a different song. I'm considering doing this for my classes next semester, and I may regret saying this, but I may do instead a beginner's pack, an intermediate pack, and an advanced pack. Now you could have them all, but there would be the simplest parts in the beginner thing. It would have all the songs, but you wouldn't have 3 versions of everything. You would have the essential, what I would deem would be the simplest parts, which would either be chords or counterpoint for the most part. And then the intermediate, it would depend, it might be a harmony or it might be the tune. And the advanced, might be the a more advanced kind of tune or have more ornamentation to it. Something I was thinking of developing. Would anybody want that?
Kevin, I think you could just like mark where you've got all of that with the counterpoint and stuff. Just mark what would might be more towards the beginner and more towards the
And people can
intermediate.
print whatever they want. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than you having to go
Yeah.
through make lots of packets.
Yeah, and if people want to do it themselves, the only problem is I have to go back into all the files and re-import them, get all that. But if you want to do it yourself, the easiest parts have the fewest notes. The hardest parts have the most notes usually.
That'll work.
The intermediate parts are kind of in between. They don't have the most notes, but they don't have the fewest notes. Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. I'm not the person I would hire to organize things. I'm good at creating them, but it takes after you create a whole bunch of stuff, then you go, oh, this could be collated in a different way. I don't ever think that before I start something. But at any rate, well, cool. Well, I appreciate y'all, and we only have one more time, and I think it would be good as I look at this to stick with these tunes and you play music for an hour and 15 minutes, if we can. I can play a part or two, as needed, to fill the space. I would love to hear you play. And if that's too much to ask, I would love for you to send me a video of you playing. It's really been helpful for me. The people who've submitted those. Some people it's too nerve-wracking to play something in front of others, even quarantined in their own home in 7-8 states away, is threatening, and I get it. But I would love, it really is helpful for me to see where you are, and I can help you if I see and hear you play. All right, let's leave it at that, team Celtic, and I'm gonna try to design some merch. I feel like that's what's gonna help push us over the top. That we need some more merch. All right. Good night, y'all.
Kevin, this is so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Night, Kevin.